Cass County Commission meeting to order. Next up, we'll have roll call.
Commissioner Breitling.
Here.
Commissioner Vettel.
Here.
Commissioner Grinberg.
Here.
Commissioner Capitan.
Here.
Commissioner Flacco.
Present.
Next, Commissioner Capitan, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next, I'd ask for a motion approving the minutes from the previous meeting of August 4th.
Flacco moves. Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next, I'd look for a motion to approve the order of agenda.
Motion to approve.
Pertain to both consent and the regular?
Just the regular. The overall, the order. We're approving the order of the agenda, just the order.
I have a problem with one item number 10 in the consent agenda.
Okay, would you like that pulled off?
Yes, I would like it transferred to the regular agenda.
Okay. With that, then, who made the motion to approve the order? Commissioner Capitan, Commissioner Brentley, do you second that with pulling 10 off to the regular
Yes.
agenda? Okay. Everybody understand the motion?
Yep.
Discussion? Hearing none, okay, roll call vote, or voice vote. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, approve the consent agenda, the removal of item 10.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a roll call vote.
Commissioner Flacco.
Aye.
Commissioner Breitling.
Yes.
Commissioner Vettel.
Aye.
Commissioner Grinberg.
Aye.
Commissioner Capitan.
Aye.
Next, we'll have item 1 under the regular agenda. Mr. Rick Steen, who knows this room very well, providing us a Fargodome update. Welcome.
Thank you, Commissioner Grinberg. Commissioners, you know, I know this room well, but I haven't really stood on this side very often, so anyway. So if you just got a couple of things to cover with the commission today, your nominated representative to the Fargodome Authority, a lot of things going on right now with the Fargodome, and so I thought I would come out and just bring you up to speed, answer any questions that I can, and I won't be able to answer all your questions if you have any, but I'll try to do the best that I can. And with that, and also maybe just a financial update. Half the year's over for 2025, and we can cover that. It shouldn't take very long on any one of these items, but I'd like to start with the financial update, if I may. You should have the sheets in front of you. For this, I'll need my glasses. The first statement, which is a detailed statement, looks like this. That's the normal monthly and year-to-date financial statement that we receive from the administration at the Fargodome. This is when it happens to be for June 30th, 2025. I'm just going to focus on the year-to-date numbers through half the year. So far, we've had 47 actual events. Attendance has been about 183,000, which is slightly below budget. Our total event income is $1,454,000 compared to a budget of $1,500,000, slightly below budget there. Other income $964,000, which is pretty in line with budget. Indirect expenses $2,569,000 for net income to date, or net loss actually of $150,873. The budgeted net loss was $128,496 year to date. The first part of the year starts out pretty slow for the Fargodome. You got the winter in there, and then you've got the summer, which not a lot goes on in the summer, but the fall really is where things pick up for the Fargodome. And so our total budget is I think about a break even this year, and we should be pretty close to the break even piece on that. The next page in your packet is the balance sheet. And this is just the Fargodome piece, and so just to cover a couple of things there. Under the current assets, the Fargodome does carry about $7 million of cash. That's in addition to the permanent fund. What we decided to do that with a number of years ago was to, instead of transferring all of our funds into the permanent fund, withhold some of that, those funds in order for us to make real-time decisions if we have to make some capital expenditures, that type of thing. Also as part to hedge the investment piece of it. Back then we had pretty high interest rates when we moved this, and pretty erratic market. And so we decided to maintain about $6 to $8 million within cash within the Fargodome. So that's a number to bear in mind when we get to the next piece of this as well. So total assets $7,753,000, pretty consistent with the end of last year. Next page is the Fargodome Permanent Fund. The permanent fund is the funds that were generated over the years in the tax revenues that we have, the sales tax revenues, and then just basically been reinvested over time. That is invested with the state, following the city's investment policies, and so we basically flow with the city what their investments are. So total investments as of 4/30/25, which is the latest data we had available at the time, was $44,427,000. Compared to last year's balance of $43,797,000, and we'll see in the next page what's happened this year. But anyway, so carrying a pretty healthy balance of $44 million of investments. These are not included in the financial statements that we just went over. It's a separate fund. Next page is the Fargodome 2026 operating budget. There's actually a fair number of years on here. The 24 actual, I'm just going to go right to the bottom line for that. Revenues in excess of expenses in 24 was $174,403. The budget for 25, like I said, was pretty much a break-even budget. The bottom line for the budget for 2025 is $9,162. The budget and projections that we've kind of put together was an estimated loss of $8,186 for 2025. And the 2026 budget, which we have to approve back in May or June, it was pretty short time into the year, was not, bottom line break even about $995. So really kind of a break even projection, a break even year for 2025 as well. I wanted to share that with the group. And the next page just talks about some of the differences in the budget.
Commissioner Flacco has a question.
Can I just ask you a question on
Sure.
on the income side, other income? Does that include, money that you would generate off the interest and income from some of those reserve funds?
It does not include any funds, any money off, any earnings off the reserve funds.
Okay.
That stays within the fund, and those funds are basically for the use of long-term investments, capital investments. So, but what it doesn't include is the interest income off the short-term funds, the cash, the $7 million. We typically have that invested in high-yield market funds, somewhere around 3% right now. It used to be up to 5% about, so try to maintain that in pretty good yield cash funds. Yeah, good question. That's all I was going to cover on the financials. Nothing real significant. On budget, break even. Next year's a break even budget. And that's where we're at with the operations. Any other questions on that? Perfect. The next handout is our proposal that we submitted to the city of Fargo, actually to the committee, the subcommittee looking at this, was about 71 pages. We went through a process of working with the city. How does the Fargodome, a city-owned entity, propose on a Fargodome or a convention center owned by the city of Fargo? We went through the attorney process and that type of thing. We got some pretty clear guidance with that. One thing that we noted, because we're a city entity, we really could not go out and hire a bunch of consultants because we'd have to go through the bid process and get all that done. So we've used the people that we've used in the past, and we'll talk about who they are, to put this together. We had a couple of authority board members working with this, Dave Supis and myself, along with Rob Soblik, and then the consultants working on this. So it's a stab at looking at what the convention center would look at using previous plans that we utilized. Leading up to this, I think we've been looking at an expansion of the Fargodome along with the convention center for about 5 years, ever since I've been on the Fargodome Authority Board. So, and probably before that. So page 1 is just a illustration of what the proposed convention center would look like. On the right-hand side of that picture is the convention center itself. On the left-hand side is the hotel. One of the requirements from the city is that this also includes plans for a 150 to 200 room hotel. So we've included that in here as well. Page 2, or the next page, I think I numbered them on the bottom hopefully, but page 2 is just a table of contents to let you know everything that basically was covered in this proposal. I'm not going to go through that in detail. Page 3 is really just a statement about why we feel the Fargodome is probably one of the better places and entities to basically construct and develop the convention center. A couple things on the bottom. Fargodome already hosts 200 events per year. We have a staff of 30 with 30 plus years experience. We have 125,000 square feet of existing convention space already, exhibition hall, meeting space, that type of thing. And we also have an existing infrastructure tied directly into NDSU, as well as working with the city already. So you'll see in this proposal, and I'll try to explain a little bit why we are tied in so tight with NDSU in this proposal. We are on their land, it's leased. NDSU would basically have to amend the lease along with the city of Fargo to allow us to build this convention center and the other amenities that we're talking about here. So we are tied in pretty tight with NDSU as far as land-wise and planning-wise on this. Page 4 is basically just a diagram of the parties involved in the decision-making for the convention center. Obviously, the city of Fargo is at the top of the list. Underneath that, we have the authority board, and then the convention center would come underneath there. We do work with partners. When I say partners, we've got the NDSU will be a partner in part of the project, not in the convention center itself. We also have the foundation, which would be the NDSU Foundation, which work as a partner with us as well. And so we look at this, it doesn't say it in here, but the way we would kind of address this, there's really 3 phases for the Fargodome to complete this project or to bid on this project. Phase 1 is strictly the convention center, and that's what we would be primarily responsible for, is the convention center. Phase 2 would be the hotel, and the hotel would be on land adjacent to the convention center, but that land is owned by NDSU, and so they would be an integral partner in planning who would use that, how we could utilize the land, who would be the hotelier that would put that up there. So we'd have to work with them on that because they'd have to approve it, obviously. And then phase 3 is a setting of structures that encompasses a courtyard, an exhibition stage, and that type of thing, to basically welcome the people who are at the convention, at the hotel, and other events in North Fargo. And so one of the big things we talked about in this is people say Fargo, Fargodome out of the way, too far north, that type of thing. But we're also saying, hey, we're not that far from the city of Fargo. We're in line with all the major transportation areas, and we are, the city of Fargo needs to look at North Fargo as well as far as development. It'd be good for them. So that's all the little pieces that fit in here. The different parties. Obviously, the Fargodome is the main party. We got RLE is the design group we're working with. They worked with us on the dome and different things up there. Perkins and Will is an international developer of convention centers that they're on board with us working here. Marquette Advisors, they're basically a capital firm looking for developers and capital to put different things together, and so that's what they do. Brandt Hospitality said if we had the hotel, they'd be more than happy to manage the hotel, local. And then Kraus Anderson would be the actual construction contractor out of all that. Next page, and this will be kind of winding down here, but the next page is the concept. So we've looked at this, what was required, and this is a different page 5, what was suggested minimums by the committee. The attached hotel is 150 to 200 rooms. Well, we're looking at 160 rooms we fit into there. The ballroom and exhibition hall is 50,000 square feet. The one we've got drawn up is 50,000 square feet. Pre-function, the committee asked for 10,000 square feet. We've proposed 43,000 square feet of pre-function space for a lot of different reasons. It also ties nicely into the Fargodome itself. Additional meeting rooms, they wanted 8,800 square feet. We've got 11,500 planned into it. We got existing Fargodome field level of, that's basically the breakdown, but 16,600 total for meeting rooms. Then additional exhibition space, which is, this is probably the beauty of tying the convention center into the Fargodome, is we've got additional space of 80,000 square foot for exhibition space on the main floor. We got the concourse of about 54,000 square feet, the east lobby for 16,000 square feet, for total additional Fargodome space, not in addition to the convention center, of about 150,000 square feet. So we'll be talking about that when we talk to the committee. Page 6 just talks about the team. I'm the developer Fargodome, the landowner is North Dakota State University, the design team is RLE and Perkins and Will. Page 7, conceptual drawing, and none of these have been architecturally drawn. So got the Fargodome on the north, on the top of the page there. The convention center ties directly into the Fargodome. The pre-function lobby is new space. This will be to the south of the dome. So it's taking up the space, the parking space between the shack and the Fargodome. The road will still exist there. 17th Avenue would still be maintained. Conference center is there. To the east of the conference center is the proposed hotel, and that's attached by a skyway on the second floor. Then to the east of that, we've got 4 buildings. These could be designed however, but we tried to find the space. These 4 buildings with a stage on the far east side, with green space in between. Next, page 8. Again, just another drawing of that, more close up to the hotel and to the entertainment, food, beverage, that type of thing. Page 9 is an artist's rendering of what the hotel and the courtyard will look like from the stage area, looking west to the hotel. So the building in the background would be the hotel. Buildings on the side, different retail, hospitality type rooms. Page 10 is looking from the hotel back over the courtyard to the stage space, and then again past the buildings. Page 11 is an aerial shot of where this would all be located. So in the center of the picture there, we've got the Fargodome. Obviously, we can see that to the right of that, to the south of the Fargodome, is the convention center itself. And then to the east of the convention center is the hotel and the retail hospitality space we've talked about. So that takes up about half of the southeast parking lot. And we've got all sorts of great tie-in reasons. I'm not going to go over those on the next couple pages about why it makes sense to have it at the Fargodome. So, I've been working on this. So, questions, thoughts?
Questions or comments from Mr. Steen?
Let's get her done.
Commissioner Vettel?
I just have one
Sure.
question. The entertainment areas that
Yep.
you refer to, what exactly are?
It'll be up to the developer because it's going to be new, and that's why we're working with NDSU and NDSU Foundation and market developers to basically attract. The idea is probably restaurant, some retail, restaurant lounge, that type of thing. That's the idea with the green space and and there's not, I mean, it's about 100,000 square feet total that we've got planned in there. So nothing's defined because, you know, we're 1 out of 9. You know, we haven't been able to go out and develop or attract developers, but that's the idea. That's what NDSU is looking at doing. I mean, they're in favor of this. We've had a lot of meetings with NDSU to see, are they in favor? What can they deal with? What will they support? And all this has been reviewed by NDSU, and they're on board with what we have here so far.
Two-part question. What's the total overall project cost for everything, phase 1 and phase 2, as you alluded to? And will part of the permanent fund in the dome be pledged towards some of the capital costs?
So that's the 2-part question. The convention center itself, depending on how we want to parse that out, you have the regular convention center, which would be total convention center. They're figuring about $500 a square foot for development on that. So somewhere in the 35 to 40 $1 million range. That concourse level or the attached, that would probably be paid for with the, how can I say this? But significant portion of that would be paid for with the permanent funds. So that'd be part of Fargodome paying for that, so we're not asking anything more from the city. The hotel would be a private developer. That would be for basically all of these, as with the retail space. So we're looking somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 to 45 million with, I'll say, I should bump that up, maybe to 50, because we don't have parking to worry about, we don't have infrastructure to worry about, we don't have land to purchase. We just don't have those expenditures, it's there.
So that's phase 1, 450?
Yeah, and that would be what we would be responsible for as phase 1. Phase 2 and 3 would be developers in there. So that would be pretty consistent with how every proposer would do this, because the convention center itself will be owned by the city. Because that's what's funded with the sales tax.
Where would the tax that was passed, where would that be applied?
Which?
The tax, the lodging tax.
That's the 3%. That pays for the 40 million. That'll be funded, that'll be debt. And then the lodging tax pays for the debt over a period of time. They figure that might generate about $70 million, the lodging tax over that period of time. So it'd be an indenture that's paid for with the proceeds of the sale. So when you say it costs about 40 to 45 million, that's what you can afford to finance given the sales tax.
So then the permanent fund at the Dome is not obligating any funds?
Yes, we are. In order to complete the entire project, we'll be designating more funds, because the concourse area is going to cost more than, how can I say this, in addition to the 40 million.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's something that Fargodome has made a commitment to do if the site is chosen then.
Right.
Complement the sales tax or the lodging tax and the private development.
Yes, so it'll be equity, basically, that the city already has through the foundation, through the Fargodome, which we've already been researched, that we can use those permanent funds for the development, the such development that we're looking at here. So we've crossed that hurdle. It's part of the purpose of the Fargodome, so we can go ahead and get that done. So it's one of those things that we really have I don't say we have almost an ace, face down, because we've got equity that nobody needs a return on. So most of these proposals, I haven't looked at all of them, looked at a fair number of them. They're all asking, where's the additional funds coming from? How do we pay for the parking ramp? How do we pay for this? It's a question we don't really have as the Fargodome. We've got 44 million plus a 7 million in our cash.
I've read through all the proposals. Yeah, it's one that really stands out.
Yeah.
Encourage everyone, I think it's all online at the City of Fargo or Fargodome. You can look at all the proposals. Commissioner Flacco, then Commissioner Captain.
I believe I have 2 or so questions. Mr. Chairman and Rick, currently, for example, there's a bus stop at the corner of 17th and Albrecht. Will any of the bus stops change or be added with the proposal? Because you're pretty well situated in terms of being on the normal bus route. You have some high areas with University Drive and 19th that can handle a lot of traffic. You're close to the airport. But are you looking to do anything in terms of needing to modify locations of buses and where they drop off or frequencies?
There's actually a page in here, a couple of pages
dedicated
to the transportation. I didn't make 71 pages.
No, okay. It was in the 71.
But it's in there, yeah. So we do address the bus routes, which are integral to the success of this place, because it has direct routes to downtown. And so those would be basically, I'm not sure, is it, by 100 yards, whatever, but the idea is to use those bus stops as part of the convention center development to make sure we have easy access to downtown and other areas that the buses go to. So yeah, we did talk about that quite a bit.
And then lastly for me, with the permanent fund and some of the Fargodome enhancements, will that include kind of important upgrades for accessibility?
Well, good question, Commissioner. We have to do those upgrades regardless, so we can spend $40 million on the convention center. We have a significant amount of upgrades, ADA, and, you know, improvements that we have to make at the Fargodome. That's what we have, portion of the 44 million, not all. We have enough needs within the Fargodome to take care of, but that'll be coming out of the Fargodome permanent funds and in conjunction with this development. It would make sense for us to do it all at once because you've got the construction, you know, group there at the time, so. Yep.
Commissioner Captain?
I noticed on the proposal, there's an awful lot of parking spots that are being eaten up by the convention center and the hotels and that stuff. Is there any thought as to how you're gonna replenish some of that parking?
We've actually had a good discussion with NDSU on that, this is not on here, but if you're sitting at the Fargodome and you go to the southwest corner of the Fargodome and go south, there's a significant lot down there that we talked about doing a swap. Swap sounds not a lease, but an agreement basically to access those lots. Yep,
Okay.
we did talk about that, because we know we're gonna lose, we don't have an exact count, we've talked about this, how many spots are we going to lose? It's a fair amount, but even with what we have left, we have more spots, even with the ones we have left, by a long shot than any other plan.
Would there be like because the area you're talking about is somewhat removed of the dome, so is there gonna be kind of a shuttle?
It's right across the street from the dome, people park there now on game days for football. It's right across 17th,
okay.
right
Yep.
across the street,
Yep. I'm with you now.
so.
Other questions? Thank you.
Mr. Wilson, did you have?
Just a quick question. I don't instinctively have a good reference point for 150,000 square feet. And so quick Google search of
The 150,000 square feet I referenced, that's existing, that's the Fargodome. The exhibition space, the concourse ways, the meeting rooms, that's 150. So is that what you're referring to, Robert?
yeah, that's what I was trying to make a reference point to an additional 150,000 square feet. So if I got that wrong,
Available to the convention center. The convention center has its own square footage footprint.
gotcha.
In addition to that, if exhibition space, whatever, there's another 150,000 square feet attached to the convention center available for bigger events.
Got it. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're always welcome, the Cass County Commission.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Anything else? We will have meetings with, starting this Friday, I believe, they're going to break up the groups, I think, into 3 proposers to the next 3 Fridays. And basically have about a half an hour, 40 minutes with the committee to answer questions, respond to their questions, that type of thing. And then from that, they're going to be making their decisions for the next 3 or, they want to get it to 3. It's talked about 5, we'll see what happens.
Where are these presentations going to take place?
Excuse me?
Where are the presentations going to take place?
There won't be any presentations, it'll be question and answer. We're there basically to make an opening statement and then basically respond to questions that they might have. So it's on Fridays. We don't even have the calendar yet, Commissioner Breitling. We don't know for this Friday, 2 Fridays from now or 3 Fridays from now. I did suggest 3 Fridays from now might be difficult for some of us. We may be in Nashville, but anyway, that's just a thought. And then they said, oh yeah, 2 Fridays from now, we've got Charlotte, right? So we'll see what happens. But we don't have the calendar yet on that. All right.
All righty, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Mr. Wilson, number 2, space needs architectural bids.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, on Wednesday, August 6th, we opened 3 sealed bids for architectural services following up on the space needs study that the county completed a couple of months ago. And you'll recall there was a quite exhaustive process there of really meeting with members of the board, departments, the courts, kind of visioning what our space needs were through 2040. Again, on the 6th, we opened 3 bids from proposers who wanted to really have the architectural lead in taking that plan and bringing it forward to design and then overseeing construction administration. Those three bids were provided by Foss Architecture and Interior, JLG Architects, and Stone Group Architects. Two slightly different models of pricing that the three proposers put forth. Foss put a percentage of total construction cost at 6.75%. JLG used the same format of a percentage of 7.45% of total construction cost, and Stone Group put forward a flat rate of $712,126 for the services required, broken up by various project components. Internally, a group of three of us, myself, Building and Grounds Supervisor Gene Gartner, and IT Director Bob Henderson, reviewed the three proposals for price, history of relevant work, experience, and approach to the project to come up with a recommendation. We are presenting for your consideration a nomination or a recognition as the preferred bidder, JLG, on this project. The reasons for that, as I outlined at the building committee earlier this afternoon, that again, the Foss proposal and the JLG proposal in terms of experience and project approach were very, very close. And the three of us were very definitely in an agreement that either one of those firms would do a very good job with this proposal. What really, in our minds, gave JLG the lead on this and made them the recommended proposer, in spite of their higher cost, was their approach to the project that had both kind of the point A to point B of going from group meetings, assessing needs, assessing available space, designing a solution, designing an outcome, and moving forward to building. JLG really built in an additional component of almost circling back with the groups from getting to that last kind of input stage, formulating plans, and then circulating back for almost a follow-up touch point and verification on what they heard the first time. And in my mind, that circle back, that double back, was a very significant step because of our experience going through the space needs study process, where the conversations and the thinking that each department was putting forth when they worked with JLG, who produced the space needs study, is we had sort of evolving recollection or recognitions of what was important, how things needed to interact, how different departments needed to interact, and what was important. Rightfully so, there were some significant questions at the building committee of going for a proposal that was not the lowest cost proposal, and I would just say that was something we were very aware of and very mindful that there needed to be a value there that was worth an additional cost as we made that evaluation. And all of those factors, all told, among the three of us, is really how we arrived at the recommendation we bring forward to you this afternoon. I certainly would stand for any questions or feedback, your thoughts as you look at these.
Yeah, just a couple. Mr. Wilson, the recommended motion then is, if commission decides to move forward, your recommended motion is select one and then continue to negotiate as written in your recommended motion.
Correct.
I think it's also the trip down memory lane. What started all this largely was the secure courtroom edition, displacing IT. Also led to further work on space utilization of inefficient space, at least from my view, in the annex, burgeoning office in the state's attorney's office, as well as a very dysfunctional human service delivery point. So that really was kind of, I think, what drove a lot of the space utilization on, I would tag as the first phase of this, knowing that we have some needs prompted by the IT displacement with the courtroom decision. And the wisdom of prior commission, I think Commissioner Breitling and Commissioner Capitan your date might precede what Mr. Montplaisir's recommendation is, establish a building fund that has a fund available for decisions like this as the county grows and moves forward. So just wanted to kind of bring my thoughts, at least I follow the dots on this, because the secure courtroom started, I think, about the time I was elected. And now we're into almost starting year 4, at least my first term. So. Questions, thoughts? Commissioner Breitling?
My understanding, and I sat in on your building committee meeting earlier, is that there has been some concern about the contract entered into with the architects and the contractors on the jail, and that we should be studying whatever we enter into or negotiate in more detail and perhaps with more sophisticated help.
Commissioner Breitling, great question. In a conversation I had with, an attorney in town over some of the challenges of out of state firm in our jail expansion, the comment was made that many entities, political subdivisions, will choose to establish their own contract for services rather than using the boilerplate AIA contract for architectural services. And that's kind of what resonated with me, at least to have a discussion that if it's our project, we're the owner, we should be providing a document that protects us and not this boilerplate AIA document that's most commonly used.
Would that be a part of the motion?
I would be open to that. Others?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Breitling, I will say that I have heard the message very, very directly in conversations up to this point that we need to work closely with the state's attorney's office to look at alternative contract formats that would be most advantageous to the county in progressing through such a project and taking that direction to heart.
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Flacco?
So, kind of in fleshing out and direct staff to negotiate an agreement to include the costs and the contract for services would be the two of the things that they would be required to negotiate, as I understand. I mean, whether that's included as part of the motion or because it says accept the proposal, but I just worry if that's counter to negotiating an agreement. So I'd be more like accept JLG as a preferred bidder. I'm not making the motion. As a preferred bidder for architectural services related to the Cass County Space Needs Study, and direct staff to negotiate an agreement to include the costs and contract for services. Means that would
Wilson or the resident attorney on the commission.
Well, the language is what we need to flush out. And that's that the contract be something that we design and agree to rather than agree to what's been submitted in a standard form by the architect.
That's why I'm curious if we should not include the language, accept the proposal. Because if we accept their proposal,
I
that
don't
might,
think we should be accepting the proposal at this time.
Mr. Wilson?
Mr. Chair, Commissioners Flacco and Breitling, I think our process forward would address your concern is that we do not have a proposed contract. We have not received a draft contract from them. We would be collaboratively with the preferred bidder negotiating what form that contract is. So we are not at all in a position where they have handed us an AIA contract and said, this is the form we're going to use. We would start from scratch, and I am very clearly understanding the direction that I'm hearing, that we need to explore a format that is most beneficial to the county, and we would bring that back to you, and you would authorize any agreement before we would be bound by this agreement.
Yeah, said another way as well, we're just authorizing to advance the negotiation with one and come back with the details.
Is there a motion before us?
No.
As expressed by our chair, I would make that motion.
Second?
Second.
Read back what Commissioner Flacco said to see if that's the correct motion. He said, accept JLG Architects as the preferred bidder for architectural services related to Cass County Space Needs Study and direct staff to negotiate an agreement including costs and contract for services. So it's accepting JLG as the preferred bidder. It's not accepting anything else. Just identifying them as our preferred bidder.
Do you understand? Comfortable?
As long as you have it identified rather than accepting.
Keywords. Don't want to rush this. There were more questions.
I'm still uncomfortable with the fact that they're almost a full percentage point above the next bidder. I don't like that at all.
I would agree that that is subject to negotiation. That's part of your negotiation process.
Well, then I suggest we also talk to the next lowest bidder, or the next bidder that was
Why?
actually the lowest and best bid, negotiate with them too then. And my response to your question is, why not?
Wilson, customary for the commission is to focus on one and move forward with negotiations. Is that correct?
I would say that's correct. That fits past practices.
Also,
Commissioner Bettle?
yeah, I think we've relied on the committee to make these decisions in the past to move things forward at an efficient rate. So I would support the committee's recommendation at this point. They've done the work.
Comments, thoughts from State's Attorney's Office?
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, I think that's consistent with, what state statute says if there's, you pick the lowest responsible one, recognizing that you can accept or reject any bid and you can keep rebidding until you get something satisfactory. And also, you can negotiate with preferred bidder number one, and if that doesn't work, you can move on to number two and move on to number three.
She just said what I proposed.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Flacco?
But regardless, it'll come back to us
Correct.
whenever they negotiate for our approval,
Correct.
or not. If we don't,
Next recommendation and action potentially by the commission then would activate to start the process for the scope of work, which Mr. Henderson is anxiously awaiting with his team. Other questions? Okay, hearing none, we'll take the roll.
Commissioner Grinberg.
Aye.
Commissioner Capitan.
Aye.
Commissioner Breitling.
Yes.
Commissioner Vettel.
Aye.
Commissioner Flacco.
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Wilson, Excellence in County Government Award, number 3.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, this is a item that I bring to for your consideration with a level of pride and appreciation. And as you know, from each fall, the North Dakota Association of Counties has their convention in Bismarck, and a significant portion of that is they recognize Commissioners of the Year and Employees of the Year, and they have a number of different categories that they recognize excellence in county government. I received a nomination or a suggestion that Cass County nominate for an Excellence in County Government Award Employee Division to Bob Henderson and the Information Technology Department. I've got a narrative here of a number of the achievements and accomplishments that the department has achieved over the past few months. I think you could pretty much go department by department and list off the assistance, the problem solving, the initiative that Mr. Henderson and his group have provided to all of our departments and us personally, and feel like this is well-deserved recognition and an appropriate nomination. It's a bit unorthodox. This is one that is typically identifies a county employee, but again, when I started putting together really the list of accomplishments and efficiencies and problem-solving efforts and service to the organization, the community, and really the field of public sector IT across the department under the leadership of Mr. Henderson. It was certainly something that gave me great pleasure in putting together and bringing forward for your consideration. A little unusual here. Sometimes you like to surprise the person or the group that might be getting the award. The bylaws of the North Dakota Association of Counties requires that the application be approved by the board for submittal. So hence we're here, and he's being clued in on the surprise beforehand. But that's the motion or the action for your consideration.
So
Second.
Discussion. Flacco.
Could I also request, and I don't know that, I don't want, it necessarily shouldn't have to be part of the motion, but if we can request that the supporting documents be put in so-called file or permanent file or whatever we're calling that.
Personnel file, is that what you're recognizing?
Comments? Now we'll take the roll.
Commissioner Capitan.
Aye.
Commissioner Vettel.
Aye.
Commissioner Grinberg.
Aye.
Commissioner Flacco.
Aye.
Commissioner Breitling.
yes.
Thank you, Mr. Henderson.
Thank you, guys.
Doing amazing work for us, and we really appreciate it.
Well, the important part, as Mr. Wilson alluded to, is we have a great team, and they allow us to do these great things.
Approve vouchers, number 4.
Mr. Chair?
Oh, number 10. Number 10. Sorry.
Number
Number 10.
down to 3A,
There you go.
and let me explain why I make this request. A month or so ago, I wondered when we were going to approve the process provided us through legal staff for our public speaking, the agenda items and how it to be handled. And I was informed that we'd already made that decision. I asked Taylor to provide me copies of the 2 meetings in July. And sure enough, in one of the agenda items, one of those could be interpreted as being exactly that. Unless you knew what it was talking about, I'm sure the rest of us didn't have, or some of the staff did not have an understanding of what was included in that portion of the consent agenda. I would appreciate, and I don't want to be derogatory to those who are preparing the agenda, but I think that anytime we're dealing with a change in handbook policy, that should be on the regular agenda rather than the consent agenda. And that's the reason why I asked that number 10 be moved down to 3A under regular. With that in mind, I would move that we amend the employee handbook, section 516, on telecommunicating as recommended by the Personnel Overview Committee. And I'd like to hear their report.
Wilson, care to?
Mr. Chair, members of the board, appreciate the feedback, and please know that there's never an intent to not have the board fully informed on everything that you are considering, and we will take this direction moving forward for the policy changes moving forward from my perspective. Obviously, the chair has direction on the setting the agenda, but would certainly want all of you to be well informed of the agenda in the future, and we'll take all steps to do that. Would maybe just the request that you're making for the report from that you're looking for from the Personnel Overview Committee with respect to this particular item, what particular information, what can I provide more detail on?
Whatever they decided and how they decided it, why.
Okay,
Might be best then at the next meeting, put that on for a complete update.
Sure,
If that's appropriate.
thank you.
And Commissioner Redling, I think I heard you as well about the public comment period in our agenda that we added. Let me just add as well that I know there's been the state's attorney's office and Taylor and Mr. Wilson on the front of the agenda, if it's items affecting the agenda, or at the end of the agenda like it is today. My request was to keep it on the end of the agenda, at least to get a little more foundation around this topic. And that was all instinctive on my part. In the last 5 days, I have been on an email thread with the Diversion Authority and Mr. Shockley of at least 25 emails back and forth about public comment at the Diversion Authority, which is a public entity. We have to do that, part of the state legislation. It's staying at the end of the agenda. So the question was then, okay, what if the Diversion Authority goes into executive session, typically at the end of an agenda? Where does public comment come? Well, you certainly
The
aren't.
statute says that you don't have to have it on executive session.
No, but whereas would conceivably you could go into an executive session at the end of the agenda, and then you'd have public comment at the end. They could wait an hour before the executive session adjourned. And the directive or the legal opinion was to put that right before any potential executive sessions, but still at the end of the agenda. I'm welcome to your feedback on whether we should put it back on the front or at the end. And my inclination is at this point, there's no reason to change it, leave it at the end. But, we welcome the public, certainly, Commissioner Vettel?
To that point, we can go into executive session at any time during a meeting, so it may not be at the end of the agenda, it could be in the middle. And so I don't know if it's really that different if we leave it at the end.
Yeah, so we'll have more discussion on that. I have to really spend time on what Mr. Shockley outlined, and maybe have a side discussion, separate discussion with the state's attorney's office on your thoughts and suggestions. So if we amend it, I mean, again, back to open discussion. Right. All right. Committee reports, state's attorney's office.
I think we might be in
Vouchers,
the
I'm
middle.
sorry.
No, I think we're in the middle of a motion.
Oh,
You withdraw it.
Commissioner Breitling motioned, Capitan seconded to approve the policy change. And we were in discussion that whole time, so we need to have a vote.
policy change on remote?
On the
Okay.
516 telecommuting.
Further discussion.
Subject to the report next time.
You want to lay it on the table.
Move it to the next agenda, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was take it up today.
I think the report was for the next meeting, but we have to vote on the original motion.
I would
My
add-
understanding was that the motion was to approve the policy. But that's,
I don't think that was Commissioner Breitling's intent, though. He wanted to have
Discussion before that.
Wanted to report from,
Wanted to have a report from the Personnel Overview Committee.
made the motion.
Breitling.
Did you amend your motion to move it to
Yes.
September 2nd?
right,
Seconded it?
Second.
We understand we're moving it just for 2 weeks? Roll call on that, or voice? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Carries. Thank you. My head was spinning when I was going to think about all those emails on the diversion authority with. Now are we on number 4? Approve vouchers. Flacco.
Looking at the vouchers here, they're a pretty long list and more dollars than normal because a couple things are happening. One, there's a lot of roads and bridges that the vouchers are there for. In addition, we have some construction ones for secure courtroom, also the Red River Regional Dispatch Center, a couple bigger ones. But out of there, kind of one of the interesting ones that struck me, because I hadn't seen that before, and it was brought up at an earlier discussion, is about we had one person who got their GED, and that was a voucher for $36, but that's paid for by so-called canteen funds. But I just thought it would be, it's interesting in terms of what we're doing for them in a very limited amount of time, because not all of them are there that long. So that went to the Fargo Public Schools for that. So, Mr. Chairman, with that, I would move the approval of the vouchers as presented. Before I finish that sentence, I did ask Jean to go through this list because we have some things that people are maybe a little slow on in completing some of their construction stuff, and none of those that are on this list constitute anything where we want to withhold funds. So I'll qualify that as he's reviewed that again to make sure that those aren't people that we want to withhold any funds from until they get closer to completion. So with that, I move the vouchers.
Second.
Moved and seconded, discussion. Hearing none, we'll take the roll.
Commissioner Capitan?
Aye.
Commissioner Bettel?
Aye.
Commissioner Grinberg?
Aye.
Commissioner Flacco?
Aye.
Commissioner Breitling?
yes,
Now, state's attorney.
So we, some of our office had the opportunity to tour the new jail pod a couple of weeks ago. And we also, as an office, participated in the Pride in the Park event this past Saturday, the 9th. It was a good event and well attended by the public, and that's what I got.
Thank you. Commissioner Capitan?
Nothing to report.
Flacco?
The only thing is a little bit of an update on the jail contract. There's no written progress in terms of them signing, but I did send them a email today because it seems like that's good to, as we learned in a previous meeting, to kind of have these things all in writing so that they aren't misconstrued in terms of anything anyone says. And I did hear back from the mayor on that. He now wants, he wants to get a tour of the jail to kind of get a better sense for what's there. So that's been forwarded to the sheriff, and because at our next meeting, we take up the 90-day termination.
Wilson?
Mr. Chair, I will be brief, and this is where former Commissioner Steen would jump in and say,
Not possible.
that doesn't happen very often. I'll be in Bismarck next week for the North Dakota Association of Counties board meeting, along with a number of you. As part of that meeting, they will be taking a look at their strategic plan for the next couple of years, and so look forward to that activity. And just one more recognition, appreciation to Bob Henderson, who really led the effort on the employee appreciation night at the ballpark last Thursday night. That was really a good event. We were at darn near 300 employees and family members, and substantially less effort went into that than we had to go into previous year's picnic, and just a phenomenal outcome, and appreciate the effort and the creative suggestion off the bat to get us going in that direction. Concludes my report.
Brightling?
No further report.
Middle? I have nothing. Correspondence?
No correspondence.
Anyone in the public or online, would they like to provide comments? Seeing or hearing none, entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.